It was an emotionally overwhelming and unforgettable moment for everyone that witnessed it. It was also a truly remarkable example of just how far a hospice team will go to care for their patients' emotional as well as physical needs, and what they are prepared to do to make final wishes come true. After 4 weeks in hospital, Jan Holman was admitted to the Hospice of the Good Shepherd to be cared for in the final days of her battle with bowel cancer. She was bereft at being separated for so long from her beloved animals. There was Bob the horse and King Charles Spaniels Monty and Rowley. Jan hadn't said her goodbyes to them before going into hospital. She thought she'd be home in a few days. She found that so distressing. Arrangements were quickly made for Monty and Rowley to visit her hospice bedside. Dogs are always welcome to visit their owners here at the hospice. But it was probably too much to expect that Jan would see Bob again. Or was it? Dennis, Jan's husband of 46 years, takes up the story.
The hospice team was just amazing. It was as if they wanted just as much as us to see Jan reunited with Bob, her horse, for the last 10 years. One last time. Arrangements were made, and almost before we knew it, he had been brought from his stables into the hospice grounds. Jan's bed had been moved close to the open patio doors of her room, and we witnessed the incredible sight of Bob's head appearing through the doors before he nuzzled Jan's neck and lap with such gentleness. They were so pleased to see each other after 5 weeks apart. By this stage in her illness, Jan couldn't move very easily, but it was wonderful to watch her face light up as she managed to feed him apples, carrots and bananas from her bed. Our animals are very much loved members of our family. The opportunities to say goodbye to her dogs and horse meant the absolute world to her. It was an amazing thing for the hospice to do, and we were so grateful. Days later, I held her hand as she took her last breath.
The way Jan was looked after and supported during the 3 weeks before her passing had a really big impact on Dennis, a university professor and former Upton High School teacher.
Jan and I had been enthusiastic hospice supporters long before she became ill, having seen several of our friends welcomed to their care over the years. Seeing firsthand the palliative care that the hospice gives, not just to their patients, but also to their family and friends, I resolved that I wanted to do more. I devised and began delivering a range of talks about the work of the hospice at events and to local groups around Chester, always willingly accepting donations. I've helped to promote fundraising campaigns, and I've become a pretty good salesman for hospice Christmas cards and raffle tickets. I wanted to tell the story to as many people as possible of how fantastic the hospice is, and the lengths the team is prepared to go to on behalf of their patients. Not just to raise funds, but also to dispel some of the mysteries of what hospice care is.
Dennis's support didn't stop there.
Before all this, we had both always been fit and healthy. We never thought much about the future, and neither of us had given much thought to writing a will. It was a real shock when Jan was diagnosed. She made her own will soon after her diagnosis, and I've made one subsequently. Everything that has happened has brought it home to me how important it really is to make a will. I realise now that a will is the most secure way to make sure that your wishes are followed after you die. Not just about who you want to leave your money, assets and possessions to, it's about stipulating your own funeral wishes and who you want to manage your affairs. My own will is quite simple and took only a short while to write. Apart from some small bequests to a few close friends and groups, I will be splitting the remaining value of our entire estate, the house, land and possessions, equally between the two organisations that have done so much for us, meant so much to us, and always been so important to us. The hospice is one of those two. A will is the only secure means of passing things on to others in the way that you want. My message would be, don't delay. As we discovered so painfully, none of us knows what's around the corner, and none of us will live forever. Apart from anything else, I don't want all my money and goods going to the government, just because I didn't get a will sorted. And that's what would have happened had I not. Don't let that happen to you. I will never be able to thank everyone at the Hospice of the Good Shepherd enough for everything they did for Jan, for me, for our friends and for our animals. I'm delighted that my last act will go some way to expressing those thanks in a meaningful way.